never hear me. Got a bag for the bread, flocking effortlessly. Pigeons in me, small time, shallow mind, blind visually. Turn up blind eye, itchy ears, never hear me. Got a bag full of bread, flocking effortlessly.
Welcome. We're going to let the room fill up a little bit. And then we're going to talk. Okay? We're going to let the room fill up on this live with Let's Eat. Okay. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. How y'all doing? How y'all doing in here? We're going to let the room fill up a little bit and we're going to have a little discussion. It's you, 5874. Welcome. At the 4-minute mark, we're going to get started with talking. Don't be shy. Everybody in here, say hi. Okay. Hold on a second, y'all. Okay, guys. Okay, now I want to talk about something specific today. Ignore the dog. A lot of people was talking about why is it such a priority to have this big beautiful ballroom. Okay, so I'm gonna start the discussion out with talking about this big beautiful ballroom, and then we're gonna get into some more discussions about some other things. And now, in my opinion, this big beautiful ballroom, it's gonna be used specifically for an unprecedented inauguration. Okay? It's going to be used for unprecedented inauguration. This inauguration is going to be unprecedented because there will not be a 2028 election, in my opinion. It'll be canceled and Donald Trump will be installed due to the usurping and due to the usurping with the 2020 election. Okay? So let me be clear. Okay, you heard it here first. Nobody else nowhere knows this. The 2028 election will belong to Donald J. Trump, which will result in extreme anger with some people. Okay, so he has to be extra protected. So the Big Beautiful Ballroom is going to provide that extra protection, which will allow the inauguration to take place within the Big Beautiful Ballroom. It'll be big enough that it'll be big enough to where everybody who would attend a regular inauguration will most certainly be there. High income and pressure. It's good to see you. I know you didn't catch the last one. I'm glad you caught this one. So the Big Beautiful Ballroom is priority because it has to be completed by the time the next election comes. It has to be completed because that's where the inauguration will take place. Okay? So that's why the Big Beautiful Ballroom was such a priority. Because the 2020 election, Donald Trump won that. And in previous videos, I told y'all that he won that 2020 election, and the Democratic Deepstate cabal, they usurped it from him. Okay? They did the same thing to me. They usurped the November 7th, 2022 Powerball Jackpot from me. I'm the real Powerball November 2022 Powerball Jackpot winner. Is me. I won in 2 different states, Arizona and Ohio, the record jackpot, which so basically I would have had to split it with myself. They didn't want to tell that story to the public, and they didn't like me because I was already, speaking out against their cabal and everything. So they just usurped it. They canceled the drawing completely and did a do-over drawing using Michelle Laus to basically replace the original results that came from the original drawing that matched my ticket. But we're going to get back to that. We're not going to talk about that just yet. I want to get back to this 2020 election thing. Now, the 2020 election was usurped. Anybody with a brain knows that. And so basically, a whole bunch of cabal members got together and they used Joe Biden. They used him. And they made it seem like he was going to be the president. And they came up with this brilliant idea that they thought was such a brilliant idea. They said, "Ooh, look, this is what we're going to do. We're going to steal this election. And then we going to all collectively act as the president." So you had a group of people that was acting as the president, while the real president, the person who was supposed to be the president, Donald Trump, was, trying to get justice for that. And they were just trying to cover it up and try to bring cases in Georgia against him. Now, the reason why I think the election and this lottery, there's a correlation, because in the multi-state lottery association that's located in Iowa, is a multi-state lottery that controls the Powerball, and it controls other intrastate games that's within the state lotteries. Okay, they have contracts with the Multi-State Lottery Association. Now, the reason why that's relevant is because the Donald Trump, he said that in a lot of these states, these governors are foxes in the hen house. And in my opinion, these are the following states that have foxes in the hen house. This is my opinion. Because the same pattern with the election, all you have to do is look at the election, look at the results from the election, and then look at the results from the Powerball winner, jackpot winners. Okay? These are the following states that I believe that are the foxes in the hen house, Democratic Deepstate cabal states. The number one is California, being the biggest one, Maine, Georgia, Oregon, New Jersey, Texas, and South Carolina, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Okay? Those are the main ones. Oh, I forgot. Wisconsin and Minnesota. Okay? So those are all the foxes in the hen house states. Now, if you look at these Powerball jackpot winners, these billion-dollar winners, they all come out of those states. They come out of Maine. They come out of Oregon. They come out of California, as we all know. They come out of Texas. This latest one came out of Texas. Okay? They come out of Ohio, and they come out of Illinois. It's a pattern. It's the same game. They playing the same game. Now, let's talk about Maduro. More people was like, well, why is it such a priority to go to another country and get their president and bring him here when nobody in America was held accountable for all this theft and usurping and all this stuff? Well, the reason why is because Maduro is very familiar with the technology that was used to usurp the 2020 election. The technology that Dominion uses, the Dominion voting system uses, was created in Venezuela. Okay? So like I told y'all 2 years ago, I told y'all that election was going to be nullified. And I told y'all in more previous videos that election will be nullified because I know how to look at things. I'm a very ferocious and serious crime investigator. Very, very serious and ferocious crime investigator. Okay? Hi, Jason Jackson, right? How you doing? Welcome. Sterling, I'm glad to have you, Sterling Welch. You've been with us for quite a long time. I know this been a long time. I know you've been sitting back like, I can't wait till he get justice. Because all this work that was put in, a lot of work was put in. But the reason why the Maduro was important because it points back with other issues that need to be buttoned up. We need to get down and button up this 2020 election and what happened. That's one of the main things. Now, we're seeing a lot of these governors. You see what I'm saying? We're seeing a lot of these governors getting together and these attorney generals from these states, some of which I've already mentioned, the states. And they're getting together basically to usurp and undo certain things. Hi, 3 Evolve. What's up? Nice to have you here. But yeah, in case you missed it, Mr. Volv, we're talking about why it was important to go get Maduro and how that correlates with the 2020 election and the Big Beautiful Ballroom. All of that is connected. Do anybody got any questions they want to ask so far? Any questions so far? Okay, the connection is Maduro is familiar with the technology that was used to usurp the 2020 election because Chavez used the same technology to ensure that he would not lose no elections. Okay? The election software was made in Venezuela. Okay? The election software was made in Venezuela. All right? So when Maduro make his deal with the federal government, he'll be telling on all of those people. He'll be telling on all of those people who he know was doing the usurping in these different states. Okay? So it was very important for him to be apprehended and come here so they can get to the bottom of that. And then there will be no 2028 election. There will be no election for that because Donald Trump will be installed. Donald Trump will be installed because the 2020 election got usurped from him. So they owe him. They owe him. And the Constitution says that a president can only serve 2 consecutive terms. He didn't have no consecutive terms. Yes, I see your comments, Maya. So that's what's going on. To clarify that so everybody understand, that's what's going on. They owe him a get back because he won that 2020 election. So they have to reinstall him and give him his rightful term back. Okay? So that will be his consecutive term. His 47 term and then his next term that he will have. That's consecutive. And then after that, it's going to be different. Okay? So all of these people like AOC and JD Vance talking to each other saying, I'll stump you in the next election and they're going to run in the next election, and Gavin Newsom saying he's going to run in the next election. There's not going to be a next election for nobody to run in because Donald Trump is owed that term. And Maduro is going to provide the information. Okay, Maduro is going to provide the information to make that a possibility. To make that real. And by that time, the Big Beautiful Ballroom has to be completed. It has to be completed because it's going to be bulletproof from every angle. It's going to be bulletproof. And that's where the inauguration is going to happen at, in the Big Beautiful Ballroom. That's why it's priority. Okay? Okay? Is everybody with me so far? Any questions up until now? Any questions so far? So far, so good. Okay, everybody understand. All right. Okay, I see that. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Okay, good, good. So we all understand so far. Okay, next. Now, y'all know that we're going to talk a little bit about this lottery, because this election and this lottery is the same wing on the same bird. Okay, it's the different wing on the same bird. So let's get into that. If you look at what happened in Georgia with Donald Trump, Fonnie Willis, used the RICO law to bring charges against Donald Trump, Sidney Powell, Rudy Giuliani, and others. Okay? In an effort to try to convict them for election tampering so that they can create a smokescreen because they know they rigged that 2020 election. Okay? Now let me tell you something funny about the state of Georgia. Okay? The state of Georgia runs the Mega Millions Consortium. Georgia runs the Mega Millions Consortium. Okay? Let me say it again. The state of Georgia runs the Mega Millions Consortium. Okay? But the Multi-State Lottery Association located in Johnston, Iowa, they control all of it. The Mega Millions and the Powerball. Okay? The Powerball is facilitated by the Florida Lottery in Tallahassee, Florida. Okay? Use it for yourself, Mr. G. Use that for yourself. Florida Lottery runs the Powerball consortium. Runs the Powerball. They do the Powerball. So the Powerball drawing is drawn in Tallahassee, Florida. The Mega Millions drawing is drawn in Georgia. Now, let me tell you why that's important. Because Georgia has been found to be another Democratic cabal controlled state, like Minnesota has, Wisconsin, California, Oregon, Washington, New Jersey, the state of Maine. Okay. Now, all of these billion dollar Powerball prizes. Oh yeah, it's money laundering. And all of these $1 billion Powerball jackpot prizes come out of Oregon, Texas, California, New Jersey, Maine. Okay? So, a lot of times, there's a correlation. Okay? Now, let's talk about November 7th. Now, for you guys that's in here that don't know, November 7th was a record Powerball jackpot for $2.04 billion. Okay, we're not talking about that, Mr. G. Save it. Okay, you can't change the subject. We got particular subject matter we talking about now. We're not talking about my brother. I know you'd like to bring that up and like for me to get emotional, but it's not going to happen. Okay. Anyway, moving right along. I just want to point out the correlation between those two things, this election and this Powerball thing. Now, on November 7th, 2022, something happened that never, ever happened before. They canceled the entire Powerball drawing. They canceled it. People was waiting all night. They shut down Powerball.com. They shut it down. Okay? They shut it down completely. And they said, oh, we think we're going to have it the next day on November 8th. They said, oh, we're going to have it November 8th at I think 9 o'clock. They didn't. They didn't. And then they put out a pre-recorded video talking about, okay, here's the drawing. And it was pre-recorded. And the lady in that video kept saying, good night, everyone, which proved that it was taped the same night, November 7th, while they were supposed to be having alleged technical difficulties. They were producing a new Powerball drawing to dump the results from the original drawing that matched my two tickets, the ticket from Florida and the ticket from Arizona, and they made their own numbers. And the numbers that they made consisted of numbers that made up some of the same numbers that on my ticket. Okay? Because on my ticket, I chose the Powerball as 10 and one of the white balls as 10. And in their results, they chose 10 as the Powerball and 10 as one of the white balls. And they scrambled the rest of it to do that. Okay? To usurp using the software. We knew all about it. And we immediately called them out on it before they announced the winner, before they brought in this Edwin Castro. We already knew what was going on because we was already investigating them from an earlier April 2022 prize that I also won. I won that too. So I met with the lottery officials, with the police. Okay? Me and the police, we met with the lottery people, and we met with the attorney that worked on site at the lottery office, Sherry Zendry, who no longer works there now. We met with her, and she was so nervous, and she was telling me, oh, well, we gonna switch it. She was talking about the April 2022 prize they stole from me. She was like, oh, we gonna switch it from what we have, and we gonna switch it back to you. We gonna switch it from what we have, and we gonna switch it back to you. Thank you for the $20 super chat, incoming pressure. I appreciate it. Yeah. Yeah, Sherry Zendry is the administrative counsel. You're correct, Jason Jackson. You've been doing your homework. I like that. Thank you. That made me feel good. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, so she's no longer working there, and she was nervous, and she said, well, we're going to switch it. We're going to switch it from what we have, and we're going to switch it back to you. And see, when I talk to people, I'm big on keywords. When I'm talking to you, I'm listening to how you deliver your words to me. I'm looking at your eyes. I'm paying attention to the amount of time it takes for you to respond to me and everything. I'm basically a walking lie detector. So when she was sitting down with me and we were talking, she said, well, we're going to switch it from what we have, and we're going to switch it back to you. We're going to switch it from what we have back to you. Because I said, Sherry, why y'all lying? Why did y'all tell the public, and why did y'all tell the American people that a Glendale couple came in there, a married Glendale couple came in there and claimed the $473 million jackpot? Why are you lying? You know that's mine. You know that belonged to me. And she was like, well, I have people that I have to answer to, Mr. McCormick. You have to understand that I have people that I have to answer to. And because I said, well, I'm going to have to file a lawsuit against y'all. And she was like, well, you filing the lawsuit is not exactly a bad thing, Mr. McCormick. It's not a bad thing. And she was like, what that will do is that will give me the power to go back to my people and tell them, and then we could switch it from what we have and switch it back to you. I said, but how is y'all doing this? And then what are they doing down at Carroll and Company? Because Carroll and Company is y'all auditors. I said, Carroll and Company is y'all auditors. So I had to do some digging. So I was like, let me find out what's going on down there at Carroll and Company. So I get on the phone, I call down there, and I call down there to speak to Kathleen. Okay? And for some of y'all that's been following my posts, and y'all been following my videos, and when y'all see the phrase, when I say, and I told Kathleen, I'm saying that for them because they know what that means. Me and Kathleen had many conversations. Okay. And I had already been in contact with Kathleen and this lady named Kathy in Iowa. Okay, let's talk about Kathy. Okay. Oh yeah, we getting into some shit now. Let's talk about Kathy. Okay. It's this lady named Kathy that works at the Multi-State Lottery Association. She works at the Multi-State Lottery Association. Hold on. Hold that thought, guys. Okay, I'm back. All right, let's get into this bullshit. Okay, so it was this lady named Kathy that worked at the Multi-State Lottery Association in Johnston, Iowa. Now, I've been playing the Powerball and Mega Millions for 25 years. And so I kept seeing these discrepancies. I was like, man, they doing something. This shit ain't right. So I was like, So I called up there one day. Okay, I called up to the Multi-State Lottery Association. And I spoke with this lady named Kathy. And Kathy, she was very nice to me. And I said, can I talk to you for a minute? And we was just talking real good. And she was like, yeah. She was like, yeah. I said, I want to tell you what my name is. So I told her what my name was, and she was like, okay. And I said, I'm gonna be calling pretty often because I want to prove something to you, Kathy. I said, I'm gonna prove something to you, Kathy. And she was like, she started laughing. She said, what are you gonna prove to me? I said, I'm gonna tell y'all how y'all cheating. How I know y'all cheating. Okay? And she was like, well, how you gonna do that? And she was open-minded. She was open-minded. I said, I'm gonna prove to you how I know y'all cheating. And she was like, okay. I said, I'm gonna call you. Okay? I said, I'm gonna call you back. Because the next state, at the time, I said the next state to win the jackpot is going to be Florida. In this particular time frame, I said the next jackpot winner is Florida. I said, how do I know that right now? I told her, I said, how do I know that right now? And it didn't even happen yet. She was like, well, I don't know. Maybe you're just good at the numbers. And what? I said, no. I said, the next jackpot winner out of all of these states is going to be Florida. And the next time I call you, we're going to talk about it. So I waited. And about, I want to say about 2 weeks went by. I'd say it was about 2.5 weeks went by or something like that from the time that I called her. And then the jackpot got hit. And when that jackpot got hit, the jackpot winning state was Florida, like I said. So I called Kathy. And I called her. And I said, Kathy. And she was like, yes. She put that little sound in her voice. She said, yes. I said, do you know who this is? She said, yes, I know who this is. I said, now, Kathy, remember what I told you last time? I told you the next state that was going to win the Powerball was going to be Florida. Now, how could I have known that? The odds of winning the Powerball is 1 in 300 something million. So how could I have picked out the right state out of all of these states that are involved? And how could that winner that's in Florida defy the 1 in 300 million odds that I predicted? Like, how could they have done that? So I said, Kathy, so what's up with that? Do you see who won? She said, yes, I see who won. I said, so what's the big deal? And she was like, I don't know how you knew that. And I said, I know because y'all cheating. It's a pattern, Kathy. It's a pattern, Kathy. I said, I tell you what. We talked and we conversated on this issue this time, and I appreciate your time. And she was like, okay, she was very nice. You see what I'm saying? She thought the shit was funny. And then some time later, some more time go by. Okay. Right. So some more time go by. When some more time go by, there was a Friday where a Mega Millions on a particular Friday, it was a Mega Millions jackpot. There was a problem with it. Okay, there was a problem with it. So I said, you know what? Let me call Kathy. Now, mind you, I didn't call Georgia to the Mega Millions consortium. I called Iowa because Iowa controls all of it. The multi-state lottery controls all of it. They are the mother. They control it all. Okay? So when I called Kathy, I called her on a Saturday. Now, mind you, she ain't supposed to be there. They not supposed to be there on the Saturday. When I called her phone, her office phone on that Saturday, it rang and rang and rang and rang, and she answered it. When she answered it, my heart dropped. And she was like, hello. She knew it was me. She was like, hello. And I was like, hello. She was like, oh my God, they kept us overnight. They came in last night. She said, I haven't been home. I haven't even been home. They came in here and made us all stay overnight. She was like, and she was like, I haven't even been home yet. I said, well, Kathy, what happened? They usurped another prize from me, Kathy. And she was like, I mean, that's the most that I could tell you right now is that, she said, that's the most I could tell you right now. She was like, the most that I could tell you is that they came in and they made us all stay overnight. And I said, you know what? In my mind, I said, you know what? That's federal. That's federal. The only people that got that much power is federal. That's federal. That's who did that. Which told me that this is the Democratic cabal that's doing this. Okay? The same Democratic cabal that's controlling these governors. The same Democratic cabal that was in Texas doing all that lottery fraud in Texas. And then they had a nerve to make a jackpot winner in Texas for the 1.8 billion that just happened. Man, these people is so sloppy. And they all gonna go to jail. And y'all gonna be like, oh, yep, Mark said this. Deception Stopper said this. Deception Stopper said this. Because, see, we are master investigators at Deception Stoppers. We'll tell you some shit and it'll sound crazy. You'll be like, oh, yeah, oh, yeah. And then when some time go by, you'll be like, God damn, they was right. How the hell did they know that? How the hell did they know that? That was right. How the hell did they know that? And yeah, that's how it go. Yep, that's how it go. Yeah. And they don't like that about us because we could see what they're doing. Okay? Because like I said, in my youth, in my younger years, I lived a life of crime in the younger years. Okay? So I have experience with looking at things. And I changed my life. I changed my life. It was 13 years ago. Okay. So, actually it was longer than that, but it was about 18 years ago. But yeah, it's just terrible. And even after, like, I sued them and everything in court, and they just they brought the court in and had the judges doing all of this bullshit, had the judges making erroneous rulings, and they couldn't keep up in court. So I was a problem with them because they're like, okay, he's fighting the lawsuit on his own, And we can't make no agreements or no side deals with any of his attorneys because he don't have any. He's doing it all by himself. He's doing the case by himself. So they most certainly wasn't going to try to get in bed with me because I'm the victim. Okay? So I knew that I had to use the Constitution to go after these people. So regardless of these fake rulings that they made in these court cases, fraud upon the court. Okay, I'm about to give y'all a jewel. I'm going to give y'all a jewel. Hold on to y'all seats. If anybody in this live chat right now has ever been in court and some funny shit happened, that's called fraud upon the court. Okay? When they misrepresent a material fact or tell lies to get favorable rulings, that's fraud upon the court, and you can file a Rule 60 motion and get it overturned. I wouldn't give a damn if the case was 40 years ago. There's no statute of limitations on fraud. All final judgments have to have been rendered with due process. All final judgments have to be rendered with equal protection of law. And all court judgments, in order for it to be a sound judgment, cannot involve no intrinsic fraud upon the court or no extrinsic fraud upon the court. This is why attorneys love to make settlement agreements. Now let's talk about that. The reason why attorneys love to make settlement agreements because it gives 100% finality to the issue. If you go through trial and court and all of that and you get favorable rulings and you win and you know you did fraud upon the court, it's not going to bring finality to the issue, because if the other side find out about it, whether it be a year later, 2 years later, 10 years later, 20 years later, guess what they can do? File that Rule 60 motion and open the case right the fuck back up. That's why a lot of times, if people have won in court and they know they cheated to win, they will still try to target the person that was in court with them after the fact so that that can bring finality to the issue. And a lot of times that involves killing that person. Okay? So if you don't make a settlement agreement, then if they cheated in court, there's no real finality to the issue, because they're going to know if they cheated or not. So they say, okay, we won, but we cheated to win. So now we have to do this. So now we gotta gang stalk them and fuck with them and make them seem like they crazy, or kill them or whatever, or honey trap them, put them with somebody that they control. You see what I'm saying? It's all kind of tricks and traps. We seen it all. You see what I'm saying? So they wasn't ready for the smoke when it came to us. They wasn't ready for it, because I told them it was going to be supernatural forces that was going to intervene in what they were doing to me. I told them that, and they like, oh, there he go with that. There he go with that. But when November 7th came, I was already in court with them. Okay? Because I filed a lawsuit against them October 14th of 2022, before November happened. And I filed that against them for the incident that took place April of 2022, where they stole that $473 million prize from me. Okay? All right? And so they thought, okay, well, we just gonna cover this up and we just gonna have the judge help us and everything. So they had the judge helping them, and I went through 3 judges on that one case. Mark, what do you think is important for max energy in production for 2026? Okay, I'm gonna hold off on that. I want you to clarify what you mean max energy, but as you clarify that, I'm going to, yeah, they owe me billions. They've been doing this to me, and look, I found out Oh, I found out. When I did a big investigation, I found out they've been doing this to me since Ohio. This all started in the state of Ohio with Ohio lottery. Okay, going back to 2006. All those jackpots they took from me. All right. And all those lottery directors that's associated with the California lottery, the Arizona lottery, and the Ohio lottery, they have all been taken out of there. Yes, since 2006, Revolve. Yes, since 2006, because in 2007, I bought a mini mansion, like a mini mansion, in this all-white town called Uniontown, Ohio. Okay, in like Uniontown, Ohio. Okay, and it was called Prestwick Estates where I lived. So everybody out there was wealthy, and I was the youngest homeowner and the only black homeowner out there. Okay, so when that happened, I was living out there, and that's where I won. And they did that same switcheroo thing, and I didn't know. I just looked at my tickets and looked at the results and said, "Oh, I didn't win," and threw them away. And I didn't know. But Pat McDonald, that worked at the Ohio Lottery at that time, he knew. And the feds went and walked his ass up out of that office after I got done blowing the whistle on this shit. I told them, y'all gonna suffer like fuck. And y'all games is gonna be cursed, and y'all revenue is gonna be cursed because you fucking with an ethereal being and you don't know what you fucking with. You just think I'm some average Joe walking around. I'm not. I'm ethereal as fuck. That's why everything I say come to pass. That's why. And they know that. That's how I win. That's why I've been winning. That's why I've been winning so much, because I'm ethereal. They don't like it. It's not my fault. So they felt like, well, we can't let him have this. He ain't about to get this. He ain't about to get this. And they had, so I was basically their whore. It was a game of pimps and hoes, and I was the hoe. So when I wanted to leave Ohio and move to Arizona, they didn't want to let me. The federal government did not want to let me because Ohio did not want to lose me. Ohio wanted me to stay in the state of Ohio so they could continue getting all of this free money. Like when LeBron was playing for Ohio, and when he got the fuck out of there, they was pissed. They was pissed when he left because they couldn't get no more of that tax money. So they was giving me a hard time about moving to Arizona. And then they said, okay, well, we'll let you move to Arizona because I left and went to Arizona anyway. Okay. And when I got to Arizona, they was like, because I was on probation at that time. They was like, oh, we want you to come back to Ohio. You got to come back. You got to come back to Ohio. And I was like, I ain't coming back to Ohio. It ain't nothing there, because I started seeing a pattern in Ohio where all of these, all of this dangerous stuff, people coming up dead, and, people in Akron saying R.I.P. this person every other day on Facebook. And I was basically like, it's a genocide going on here. I got to get the fuck up out of here. You see what I'm saying? So I got the fuck up out of there. And then they was trying to get me back, but they couldn't get me back because I was already in Arizona. And I said, I ain't coming back. I said, if you want me to come back to Ohio, you're going to have to send the U.S. Marshals over here to get me, because I'm not coming back. So they agreed to let me stay in Arizona. So shortly a while after that, which was in 2014, I moved to Arizona. And then the governor of Arizona turned into Doug Ducey. And I was like, and guess where he's from? Ohio. And guess what? Who was the head of the Arizona lottery? I mean, guess who was head? Guess who was in charge of putting the Arizona lottery directors in place and the judges in place? Doug Ducey. I said, oh, these motherfuckers. I made a lot of people rich. I made a lot of people rich. I made a lot of people rich. A lot of people that became millionaires off this thing that I'm talking about with me. Some of them, not all of them yet, but a lot of their assets have been frozen and taken. A lot of them have already been, busted. This thing is busted open. You see what I'm saying? And it was funny because you can't steal something like that from somebody because the gods want them to have that. The gods wanted me to have that. I kept winning those prizes all the way to the record prize. It was always supposed to be mine. I was supposed to have that money. I spent over $110,000 of my own money over all those years playing because I knew I was going to get it. I knew I was. And they just couldn't accept that. Do anybody got any questions right now? Let me pause because I'm moving fast because I'm excited about this thing. When I talk about this, I get excited. Anybody got any questions? Everybody with me so far? Chime in. So far, so good? So far, so good, yeah. Yeah, yes, they do, 3Vol. A lot of them do put that in there. They definitely do. And these banks, a lot of these banks are in on it. Okay, a lot of these banks are in on it. Sorry, Mark, if you could give advice on the max energy in production. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Can you provide a little bit more context for that question? Because I'm not really certain at what you're talking about. Okay, Broken Dreams? Anybody got any questions specifically on what I've talked about so far? I want to provide as much as clarity. I don't want no gray area. So ask me whatever you want to ask me. This is your opportunity. So whatever you want to ask me, let's come on with it. Okay, Pumped. We are talking about okay, we'll get to that in a minute, Broken Dreams. I'll provide a response to your question. Let me tell Pumped what we're talking about. We're talking about how the 2020 election was usurped from Donald Trump. And we're talking about the multi-state lottery and the same lottery states with these billion-dollar jackpots and these repeated jackpots in these states are a lot of the same states that they have usurped in the elections. Usurped and rigged the election results. Okay? Now, particularly, we was talking about November 7th, Pumped. November 7th, 2022, when they canceled the Powerball drawing, the night that I won. I won the record jackpot. And what they did was they recruited this guy, Edwin Castro, to act as a winner. Okay, to act as a winner, a staged winner. And they oh, thank you, incoming pressure. I'm passionate about being clear. I'm passionate about being clear. But yeah, we're talking about November 7th, 2022, rigged Powerball drawing. They canceled the drawing altogether because they found out, oh, Mark McCormick, it was him again. Because I was already in court with them at the time. We already in court before November happened about the April 2022 prize that they usurped from me. Okay, which was 473 million. All right, they usurped that from me, and then we met with them with the police, and she said file a lawsuit. Sherry said she filed a lawsuit, and and I was mad. I said, why would I have to file a lawsuit to get what you know is mine? You know it's mine, so why I gotta file a lawsuit? You see what I'm saying? And she was like, well, it's not exactly a bad thing, Mr. McCormick. It's not. It allows me to go to the people I answer to. I said, okay, well, I'll get the lawsuit filed for you. So I filed the lawsuit 10/14/2022. You see what I'm saying? And then they start having a judge fuck around. They start having a judge fuck around. The judge was fucking around and fucking around and fucking around. Then the judge got removed. Then we got a second judge. That judge started fucking around. That judge started fucking around. Then that judge got removed. Then we got a third judge. And that judge started, trying to be fair a little bit. And then that judge started fucking around and start fucking around and start fucking around. Then I was like, you know what? I said, you know what? I was so mad at the FTC. Because it's the FTC's obligation to address these type of things. If there's a company that is engaging in consumer fraud, and getting ill-gotten gains and taking money from the general public, it is the FTC's obligation to stop them, recover the money, and return the money back to its original, back to the rightful owner. Okay? That's what their job is to do. I made FTC complaints. The FTC was aware and everything. And then when the multi-state lottery hired their attorney told me, well, we don't want to settle this with you at this time. And then they had the court cheat and remove them from the lawsuit and let the other defendants stay in the lawsuit because they didn't want the multi-state lottery, to be in court with me. And now, fast forward to today, they're in court with a person named John Cheeks. And he is another black guy. John Cheeks is another black guy. And his results was switched out too. The same way mine was switched out. It was switched out the same way. You see what I'm saying? You want me to bring him? It was switched out the same way. And he in court right now. So now his allegations towards them match the same situation that happened with me. Now let's pause for a minute, and then I'm gonna get to the guy's question that wanted to talk about the max energy. Okay, when I get excited, my brain start dancing. So, okay. So anyway, remember for all of you guys that watch my video, there was a video that I made and I talk about supernatural authority. Maybe it's the same risk as a multi-year contract when you don't take the lump sum up front. Right. Most people take the lump sum up front because guess what? If you take annual payments, that money is sitting somewhere in the state's coffers. Okay? It's sitting somewhere in the state's coffers. And guess what they can do? They could kill your motherfucking ass. Okay? And more than likely, your attorney, your estate planning attorney, they control them. And remember, I told y'all an attorney's first obligation is to the courts because they're an officer of the court. Their first obligation is to the court, to themselves, and then to the client. The client comes in third position. That's why I don't hire attorneys to work for me when I'm fighting a case. Okay? Okay? Y'all, you everybody following along? Everybody getting this? Okay? So if you take the payments, guess what? Your fucking money is sitting in the state coffers, and the people at the county, they control the hospitals, your regular doctor, the police, and the jails, and all that. So they have so many different ways they can kill you and take you out and get after that money. They can have the hospital, they can have the doctor at the hospital to tell you got cancer and fry you and kill you with the chemotherapy, and then tell everybody they died of cancer. And now they got your money and nobody don't know. Okay? This is what happens when you don't put your money in a trust. This is what happens when you don't put your money in a C Corp. Okay? This is what happens. You're opened wide up for murder and for false marriage. Yeah. Yeah, everybody with me so far? Let's get into this. We cooking right now. We cooking Thanksgiving. Okay? So all of y'all, so everybody that's in this live, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. And then I'm gonna get to the max energy thing. Everybody that's in this live right now, if you got a will, the county can change it after you die and give your shit to who they want to give it to. Okay? Okay? Let's understand that. And I'm going to tell you how to fix that. Okay? So let me say that again. Everybody that's in this live right now, if you have a will, the county can change that will. If you don't have a will, the county could still give all your shit to whoever they want to give it to, okay? The way around that is you're going to form a trust. An irrevocable trust. I hate these motherfuckers so much, I'm giving y'all these good-ass gems for free. Because I hate them that much. I hate their fucking guts. Because they did this to my brother Lao Shu, killed him and took all his fucking assets. His bank. Okay, before I get into that, let me just finish this up. The way that you get around that is you have to make sure you have a trust. And in that trust, name your beneficiaries and what you want them to have and appoint your trustees. So if you die, your beneficiaries meet with the trustee. And the trustee has to follow everything in the trust. The courts can't change it because they don't have jurisdiction to change anything. Okay? They can, in some instances, step in as extra enforcement to enforce the provisions that are set forth in the said trust. Okay? And you can set forth the provisions in the trust how you see fit, and nobody could change it. So if you die, if you have a trust and you die, everything that you said that you want to happen in that trust will happen. But if you got a will, it won't. If you don't have a will, it won't. Your shit is free game for the county, for the people at the county and their families to enjoy everything you worked hard for. Okay? Okay? Is everybody following me so far? Everybody with me? Okay? Now let me tell you how they did my brother, Lao Shu. Okay? They did the same thing to him, and they appointed a judge that used to work for the bank that he had all his money at. The judge of the probate court, Jeanette Coral, was affiliated with Chase Bank. Chase Bank and U.S. Bank was where Lao Shu had his money. Okay? My attorney, they cooperated with my attorney to keep that money from me. I'm his executor. I'm his executor. So I should have been getting that money to log with the court and do the right thing with it. They didn't do that. They created a back door and did what they wanted to do with it. And when I went to Chase Bank physically, all of these people came out the back room and had their arms folded, looking at me crazy, like staring at me crazy. And that told me everything that I needed to know. And when I found out Judge Jeanette Coral was affiliated with Chase Bank, I already knew the fix was in. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So all of y'all that got money in the bank in y'all name, that money is not y'all money. If it's in your name, it's not your money. It's the county where you're going to die at, that's their money. So, you know when some of these people go out of town and go on vacation and they die in like a foreign country? Okay? Aliyah. Okay? It's some funny shit going on. Because the jurisdiction is trying to be usurped. Exactly. It's really nasty. But see, what we do at Deception Stoppers is we let them swallow the bait, like going fishing. You know how you go fishing? And sometimes the fish swallow the bait and you can really reel them in real good, but you got to use that red thing to put down their throat to get the hook out because they done swallowed it. They didn't bite it, but they bit it and swallowed it. That's what we let them do. We believe in letting them bite it and swallow it. So after they bite it and they swallow it, then that's when we come in. When it's too late. Okay? Okay? So there's no getting out of it. But they didn't care that they didn't care it was that we covered everything. Now let me get to his thing talking about this max energy. The context in which you speaking, I would say your output of max energy is going to come from your passion and dedication to the issue or whatever you're trying to obtain. So it's going to come from your passion. It's going to come from your passion. Yeah. See, income and pressure, their level of criminality is elementary to me. It's very elementary to me. It's very, very, very elementary to me. They're not good criminals and they're not good liars. They're not good criminals and they're not good liars. So people, make sure you have your assets in a trust, and you just draw up a trust and title everything to the trust. You see what I'm saying? Do that so these people can't kill y'all in the hospital and say y'all had cancer, and then and steal y'all organs while they at it too. The level of treachery is sick. Yeah. Anybody got any questions? Of course. Okay. All right. Great. Lao Shu's study habits was off the charts. Lao Shu's study habits was off the charts because it came from his love and passion. Love is the highest power on the planet. Love is the highest power on the planet, and it's elusive. Just like power in general is elusive. It changes hands. Love is elusive, whatever the context. So the passion, you can't fake that. And a lot of people want to be like Lao Shu, and a lot of people want to do what he was doing. But if that love is not there, that passion is not going to be there. And that, and the willingness to go above and beyond to put the work in is not going to be there. You can't fake it. You have to really love it. Yeah, I'm giving you the game. Yeah, I hate them so much, I give this game away for free. You know how many people will put this stuff in a fucking ebook and charge for it? I don't got time for all that. I don't have time for all of that. I've been rich. These motherfuckers gonna come up off my money. You see what I'm saying? I ain't got time to be selling no fucking ebooks and doing all this and doing all that. These bitches is gonna drop down. They want to see me doing other things. They want to see me doing other things like, selling ebooks and doing TikTok lives, and they want to see me doing stuff like that to earn money and stuff like that, because that's making them feel like they're getting away with something. But they're not. They didn't get away with nothing. They're not getting away with anything. And then the guy that they used to act as the winner, Edwin Castro, they went to the store where he allegedly bought the ticket from, and they ripped out all his security cameras. And he was like, oh, the lottery people came here and took all the security footage, because they already knew that my ass was going to subpoena their cameras, because they don't have him on camera buying no ticket. They don't have it. Okay, so when I went to go get it, when I went to do a FOIA request for it, they was like, no, under our open, we have to interpret this as an open records request, and they use the open records request to say no. But I used FOIA, and they ignored that and did an open records request. But I wasn't gonna go through all the frustration. Oh yeah, the guy who owned the store, I named him in the lawsuit too, because they were all engaging in organized crime. They all knew what was going on. They all knew. Yeah, they all knew what was going on. So I sued him as well. And his son called me on the phone, and his son was like, "Why are you suing us? Why are you suing us?" And I was like, because y'all had participation in the scam. That's why I'm suing you. Y'all willfully participated in the scam. And he was just quiet. And I said, and you didn't get no $1 million. I said, you didn't get no fucking $1 million. Because they told everybody they got $1 million prize. I said, you didn't get no $1 million. And he was just quiet on the phone. I said, I know you didn't get it because y'all got caught. I know what the fuck y'all did. And he was like, well, how you know we didn't get no million? He said, so you're telling me we didn't get $1 million? We didn't get $1 million? I said, you didn't get nothing because you got caught. The jig is up. And he was quiet. He was like, well, that court out there can't do nothing to us. And I'm not getting an attorney because I'm not fighting. And I said, and I told him, I said, you know where you fucked up at? And he was like, huh? He said, where? I said, you was in a press conference. And you held up two fingers, and you said, well, one of the winners, you gave it all away. Two, you gave it all away. I said, you put your foot in your mouth, you held up two fingers, and you said one of the winners. You knew it was two winners too, and you ran your mouth too much. That's what the fuck happened. The gods took control of your tongue, and they made you tell the fucking truth. That's what happened. And he was just quiet. And then he hung the phone up like, fuck. Yeah. They played with the wrong motherfucker. And I told them that. They thought this shit was a game. They thought it was a game. They thought it was a game. Yeah, it's a game, all right. And all of these people, when they get federally indicted, because see, I know about the federal sentencing guidelines and all of that. The federal sentencing guidelines, I know about all of that. I know about all of that. And because the federal sentencing guidelines determine how long you go to prison for. Yes, I am Lao Shu's brother. Yes. And the federal sentencing guidelines, the thing that control how long you go to prison for is what was monetarily involved. Your criminal record history and victim impact statements. Those three things determine that. If you think I'm lying, you can Google the federal sentencing guidelines right now. And you can look at the scale. And it tells how many months in prison. All the way up to 360 months, all the way up to life. Okay? And because of the amount of money that was involved with what these people was doing, they're going to be, woo, that's like 25 years to life. And I tried to tell them, but they figure, oh, with Merrick Garland and Christopher Wray, Merrick Garland running the DOJ and Christopher Wray is the head of the FBI. You ain't getting no justice because they had the justice tied off. They had a ceiling at the DOJ. Okay? And at the FBI because they had Christopher Wray in there. Okay? Which was they guys. Now, when Trump got in office, that power changed. Remember, I told y'all that power is elusive like love. I told you power is elusive like love. Okay? And when that power changed over, now we got Pam Bondi in there. Okay? We have Pam Bondi in there. Okay, so now Pam Bondi and Cash Patel and Donald Trump is taking care of all the issues that Christopher Wray and Merrick Garland was not trying to take care of. Why? Because they are deep state criminals. And all constitutional rights invoked, none waived. Okay? Yes. Absolutely. So Moses and I, we always knew that Donald Trump was going to come back. We knew that. I said, you know what? He kind of remind me of Batman was a rich man. And I said, why do Donald Trump remind me of Batman? And then I was like, Batman Returns? Oh. And then Moses was like, man, you off the hook. We was laughing. I said, yeah, he coming back. And that's going to be when Batman Returns. Yes, Batman Returns. And when Batman returns, the power shift is going to bring in. The power shift is going to bring in, and the gods are going to put whoever in there to do their will. And now we have Pam Bondi and Cash Patel doing things that Christopher Wray and Merrick Garland would have never did. Okay? We understood all of this. All of it. Every smidget, we understood. Okay? And that's what allowed us to keep going. We only use the courts to create paper trails. Okay? We use the courts to create receipts records and paper trails. So when the new power change come over, the different DOJ can order those records and look at it with a clean eye. And we did all the work for them. We did everything for them. We did all the work. Imagine people who don't want to do their job. I'm the type of motherfucker where I'm willing to do it for you and then hand it to you. Then what you gonna do? That's exactly what I did. I did all their jobs for them. I did the FTC's job. I did the FBI's job. I did the state police's job. I did the CIA's job. I did the work of a full law firm, included. I did all their jobs for them to where there could be no excuse. I did all the work. I gave them all the laws, all the evidence, everything. I gave them everything. So there's no excuse. Okay? All the work is done. All they got to do is fucking march. That's all they have to do is get to stepping. Get to stepping. That's all I'm waiting for is for them to get to stepping because they ain't got to do no work. I did it all for them. I did it all. I did it all for them. Okay? Anybody got any questions right now? Any questions? We've been on here for an hour and 22 minutes. We're going to be ending soon. So let's take questions. Yeah. Let's take some questions from the audience. Anybody got any questions? I mean, I've been playing the game for 25 years. I've won all kinds of stuff. I've won casino big prizes, big keno prizes. You know, my dad gambled a lot. My dad was a professional gambler. The government knows this. They know this. My dad was a professional gambler, so I started gambling at a young age. I started gambling very, very early. So when I approach something, or when I go to want to master something, I approach it in such a profound way. So that's how I approach these lotteries. And the way that I won is because I approached it a certain type of way where, you know, it's almost like it was an obsession and a love. That love was there, just like Lao Shu had that love for his language learning. I was the same way, passionate about my numbers. You know what I'm saying? Very passionate about my numbers. I went 5 years and never missed a drawing of Powerball for 5 years straight. That's how passionate I was. I was very passionate. Okay? So again, where we're talking about that max energy output, that comes from love. That drive comes from love and passion. That can only create it when real love is the foundation. If real love is not the foundation, if you just looked at somebody else doing something cool and you said you want to do it and you start learning real quick because you want to become that person, it's not going to be the same because you're only doing that because you want to become that person. That love, that real love is not there. But if you truly love it and you really, 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 really love it, That dedication and love and passion will be there to be the driving force for you to master and excel at a level that's unfathomable. It can't be faked. It can't be something that you just look at somebody else and do and say, oh, I want to do that. Oh, let me go try to do that. You're going to have a long way to go because that person went through many moons to get those results. Okay? Many moons to get those results. Okay? Do we have any questions? Do we got any questions? Do we got any questions? Yeah, it has to be more than just desire. Desire is not good enough because desires change. They change. Desires change. I could desire something, and then tomorrow I don't desire that anymore. So if I love something and I'm passionate about it, it don't matter if it's tomorrow or 4 or 5 or 10 years later, I'm still gonna love it and be passionate about it. And that's the foundation. What is the first step to suing a company pro se and the best way to go about it? Well, first of all, you got to gather the facts. So there has to be some sort of investigation that took place before a lawsuit is filed. You have to gather those facts, what is called a fact pattern. Okay? So once you have your fact pattern, then now you're ready to formulate your complaint. You're ready to formulate your complaint after you have the fact pattern. So once you have your fact pattern and you formulate that complaint, the complaint has to be formulated in a certain way. Okay? The complaint has to be formulated in a certain way where you have to be able to communicate to the court that you were damaged. Okay, so there has to be cognizable damages. Okay, so you either got to say there was an injury that occurred and that injury has to have resulted in some type of monetary damages or some type of physical damages that needed hospital bill and became monetary. So that's damages. So now you have to have your injury. You have to have your injured party. Okay. And you have to have your fact pattern and your complaint. Okay. And once you have the fact pattern that contains the injuries that was sustained, then you have the laws that was broken. Okay, that's going to go in the complaint. The certain laws that was broken, that goes in the complaint, and you just explain to the court what happened. All right. So once you gather your fact pattern, you go look at that fact pattern and say, okay, which laws did these violate? Now, in my case, it violated the RICO law. Now, the RICO law is a very broad law that allows us to do some creative things. The federal RICO law allows an individual, a regular individual, to act as an attorney general. It gives you the same power as a U.S. attorney general, but on a civil level, which means that it allows you to prosecute for criminal violations. Okay. Now, normally a U.S. prosecutor is the only person that can prosecute somebody for breaking federal law criminally. Okay? Because federal criminal laws does not have a private right of action. A private right of action means that it gives a regular person authority to go into court and sue for money in a civil suit. Okay? The RICO statute gives regular people a private right of action to sue for criminal activity that was done against them. If it doesn't pertain to RICO law, then the only thing you can do is report it to the authorities, and then they have to use a U.S. attorney to prosecute those federal laws because they're the only person that can do it on the federal criminal level. But you can do it on the federal civil level and ask for civil money. civil damages, you can do that under RICO because it allows you to act as a U.S. attorney. A lot of their attorneys didn't know that. So when I brought them in our RICO lawsuit, they told the judge, oh, he's using federal criminal statutes and he's not a U.S. prosecutor. And we want the case thrown out because he's using U.S. federal statutes to prosecute us and he isn't a U.S. attorney. And I argue back with the court. I said, they don't know the law. I said, they clearly don't know the law. Their arguments are misplaced. Because the RICO allows me to have a private right of action to prosecute them for violating all of these federal criminal statutes. And see, that's how they gatekeep. That's how they gatekeep people from getting criminal action filed against them by the U.S. attorney, because they have everything cut off at the DOJ level with Merrick Garland and Christopher Wray. And they say, well, if we don't want to prosecute federal criminally, we don't have to. And you can't because you're not a U.S. attorney. But guess what you can do? You can file a RICO lawsuit and you can prosecute those same federal criminal statutes under RICO. Those federal criminal statutes are called predicate acts. So you have to make sure that the federal criminal statutes that they violated were predicate acts under RICO, and now you have a private right of action to bring them in. They didn't know that. They said, oh, this motherfucker done found out a way around all our bullshit. Yeah, I sure did. And they don't like that. I made it look too easy. They said, how the fuck he figure all this out? Because like I told them, I'm that nigga. Okay? They ain't gotta like it. It is what it is. These are the facts. Okay? So that's that. Now I'm gonna take some questions, and we into an hour and a half, and we gonna go to shut these things down because I don't want to sound like a broken record. I want to make sure everybody understand. So do we got any more questions about the election? Do we got any questions about the lottery or the election or the Big Beautiful Ballroom? For those who just came in, I explained earlier in the live that the Big Beautiful Ballroom is significant because that's where the next inauguration will take place. And it's going to be all bulletproof because a lot of people is going to be mad because Donald Trump is getting installed because they took the 2020 election from him, usurped it, they owe him. So he will be installed. And he will have his inauguration in the Big Beautiful Ballroom. Okay? Okay, I'm going to take a little bit more questions and then I'm going to get on up out of here. I wanted to come and edify y'all spirit. See, when I'm talking to y'all, I'm not giving y'all education. I'm giving you edification. Edification hits the spirit and make you feel like, oh, education is like, okay, you know, maybe you can appreciate the information. Maybe you don't care. But edification, when I edify you, that touches your soul and your spirit and it clicks with you. There's a difference. Edification, you feel. Education, you're just like, okay, well, whatever. Okay, I'll take that, the grinder. I fucks with the Irish. My last name is Irish. I fucks with it. Any more questions? Yeah, the 4-leaf clover is my favorite symbol, so I fucks with the Irish, baby. Any more questions about Maduro? As I explained, for everybody who's just joining the live, Maduro is relevant to what's going on because they have to come to the conclusion that the 2020 election is rigged and it will be nullified, like I said. I also said that the executive orders will be nullified and all that, and that process has already started. Okay, and in the Christian Bible, it says edification of the soul is very important. Edification. It talks about edification in your Bible. Can anybody in here quote the section of the Bible that it talks about edification? Because I certainly can't, not off the top of my head, but I know that it talks about that. Okay, and Romans 8:28 in the Christian Bible says, for everybody who love God, everything bad and good will work together for the good. Okay, which is what's going on now. It's happening now. Okay, Maduro had to go get picked up because he's going to tell about the 2020 election being rigged, because the Dominion machines that was used in the election was created in Venezuela. Okay. Yes, he knows all the specifics. He knows all the specifics. Yes, 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 certainly preferred. He knows all the specifics. And by the time he get done singing like a canary, they're going to have all of what they need to announce to the people that the 2020 election is rigged and that Donald Trump is owed that term. Then he will be sworn in the big, beautiful ballroom that is completely bulletproof. Yes. Okay. Everybody understand? We all understand what's going on? Because a lot of people were saying, well, why is it important to go get Maduro? Why he care about that? It's all connected. You think he's going to build a ballroom like that for no reason when all of this other stuff is going on that's important? You think he's going to build a ballroom for no reason and just a big, beautiful ballroom? No. Oh, he will have some interesting things to say. He's going to probably do a 5K1 deal with the U.S. attorneys and tell what happened in the 2020 election, because Chavez, in Venezuela, used that software to not lose no elections. So I liken Dominion to the multi-state lottery association in Iowa. I liken the Donald Trump said it's foxes in the hen house states. The governors are foxes in the hen house in certain states. Just look at all the states that kept having $1 billion Powerball wins and $1 billion Mega Millions wins. Those are the foxes in the hen houses. Okay. Okay, guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, everybody, for coming in here. I appreciate it. You know what, Kennedy? I might be the next president after Trump. I don't know. I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't doubt it. I would know just what to do with everything. I swear it'd be like somebody put a fucking game genie. It'd be like somebody put a game genie in. Everybody's like, ooh, why America so different? Oh, I mean, it would be so good because I know all the in and outs of everything that they've been doing. everything. How they be killing people, about the fake marriages, how they been killing the elderly, putting people in conservatorships, usurping shit. Like, these people they gorilla pimping. They gorilla pimping. Yeah, it's been very fun and informative. Okay, guys, I'm gonna let y'all go. I'm gonna let y'all go ahead and go. Y'all make sure y'all enjoy the rest of y'all Sunday. And we gonna keep applying pressure. I believe we gonna get justice for all of this stuff this year. I ain't gonna hold my breath, but I really do believe we are. And good energy, good ethereal energy to all y'all, and blessings from the gods. Love y'all. Good night.